How to draw the head from any angle? Easy, I got you. Step 1, don't even draw the head. But how are we going to draw the head from any angle if we're not even drawing the head? Calm down, it's okay. I'm going to explain everything to you in some very, very simple steps. Step 1, draw a box.
What?
Why a box? Because boxes help you rotate things in 3D space. It's the foundational shape for everything. And what are we rotating today? The head. All you need to learn how to do is put the head in the box. So easy. We're not going to go into some super complex anatomy straight away, so this should be super easy for you to understand. Unless you're like ridiculously smooth-brained, then there's no hope for you. So now I'm assuming that you know how to draw a box, and that you're not smooth-brained, and that you're all warmed up. So let's move on to the next step, which is drawing a sheet of paper. A sheet of paper? What? How's that going to help me? Well, let me show you why. You see, this sheet of paper is what we call a mask. And a mask is the shape that we're going to be using to represent the face. What we're learning to do here is draw this mask from lots of different angles, like so. We're going to take this simple, silly sheet of paper that I've drawn right here, and we're actually going to bend it and manipulate it in space. And that is what is going to allow us to draw the face from all different angles, because we are simply going to layer the facial features onto this shape. It's really that easy, guys. So now you know how to draw the mask. Well done. Now you have to redraw it 10 million times. Okay, maybe not that many times. And now that you've done it 10 million times, we can move on to the next step, which is facial proportions. The proportions of the face are as follows. If I draw a center line on the face, typically I see that the eyes will align with the top of the ears. Something I also like to do when I'm struggling is to put the eye sockets in, because I found that if you get the eyes right, usually you'll be able to get the rest of the face right. I've also found that the eyes are an eye width apart. I've also found that the width of the nose is typically 1 eye widths apart as well. The width of the mouth is slightly wider than 1 eye width apart. I've also found that when drawing the facial thirds, the distance between the chin and the bottom of the nose is typically the same as it is from the bottom of the nose to the brow ridge. And then, from the brow ridge to the hairline, if you still have hair that is, it's also the same distance, and that is how I align the facial thirds. Wow! So now that we learned all of that nitty-gritty anatomy, let's get into the fun part, which is putting the features on the mask. I typically just use 2 dots for the eyes, this sort of prism shape for the nose, and just a curved line for the mouth. So now we can literally just take these very simple shapes and apply them to the different perspectives that are visualized on the mask. Now we can just build upon these shapes later. This is just to get a general idea of where things are placed on the sheet of paper. You just got to practice the rotation of this sheet with the features placed on top of it. And now that we know how to do that, let's move on to the real thing, the planes. So we're still using the mask method, but now we're building onto it using our knowledge of planes. And what is a plane? A plane refers to the surface of a particular object. There is a strong correlation between being able to understand a plane and understand form. Planes on the head are important because we need to know which parts will be hit by light and what features will overlap other features when rotating the head. I would really strongly recommend that you study this Asaro head, because the Asaro head represents every plane of the face very, very neatly. The head is a great representation of how the planes look and where the shadow and light would be represented on the face when the lighting is coming from different angles. I'd also strongly recommend that you study from life. Studying from life is a great way to get a visual representation of how things work within our realm of reality. Everything that you see and take reference from is inspired by something that already exists. Spaceships are planes and cars, and monsters are just creatures mashed together. However, in this example, the Asaro head is absolutely perfect for me trying to represent the planes of the face and where they all sit within each feature. Another great way to get a nice visual representation on how to draw the head from any angle is to study the Loomis method. And the Loomis method differs very slightly from the Asaro head in the shapes that you use when you're constructing it. However, taking you smooth-brained individuals into consideration, I've actually combined the two techniques to make the ultimate technique in how to visualize the facial planes. And just like every other face that I've drawn, it always starts with the mask. But we are applying some methods from the Loomis method here, such as finding the center line and then finding that rounded shape on the side of the head. And so, as I referred to earlier, all of the proportions are visually represented when constructing this face because everything aligns nicely when you use this method. You can see clearly that the eyes align with the top of the ears and they slot right in there between the eye sockets. I'm just drawing in the cheekbones and I'm making sure that everything is visually represented in a nice form and flowy way. And I'm also doing that by making sure that I find the center line of the face so that I know when the face is turned where to put everything within perspective. And the final touch is to adjust the brow ridge so that it aligns with the brow ridge on the other side of the face as well as the cheekbones. Whew, I've unloaded a lot of information onto you guys, so I did it in the last video, I'm going to do it in this one. We're going to have a little Toothless dance break. Let's do it. Hell yes, I love that guy. He's sick. Anyway, let's get back to learning. Now, to truly understand what's happening on the surface, we gotta go a little bit deeper, and by that I mean we gotta look at the skull. Learning how to draw the skull really works wonders when you're trying to understand how the facial features fit together. You get a good visual representation of where the cheekbones sit and how the mandible and eye sockets all interconnect with one another. Constructing the head can be a really grueling task for all of the smooth brainers out there, especially when you're trying to draw it from angles you're not used to seeing on the day-to-day. But with our knowledge of the skull, we know how the general construction of a face would work now. So I'm just going to go over some really quick tips and tricks that you guys can apply when drawing the face. And the first one that I have is, if you're trying to learn how to draw each individual feature of the face, I would recommend doing individual studies for every different feature. The nose in particular has a lot of planes if you're trying to draw it realistically, so it might be quite hard to get it down first time. Something else that I really like to do that helps me if you're struggling with the feature placement and also the skull placement when putting it onto the back of the mask is determining where the hairline will sit. This is such a mad assist when you're aligning everything proportionally, and then I can just add the base of the skull onto the back of the head and you can see where it goes straight back into the neck. I've also found that the two lines that connect to the nose ridge, they really help me put the eyeballs into their sockets when I'm trying to find that socket placement on the face as well. If you've made it this far, I congratulate you, you are serious about learning. So now I'm just gonna shut up and let you guys watch me do everything how I would do it step by step. And wait for the big tip, the most important tip that I'm gonna give you at the end of the video. Enjoy. If you guys made it to the end of this video, I want to say a massive well done. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and the final tip that I have for you guys, well, just have fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.